Ah, Kaz, this is the life. I could spend all day in this Mercedes.
Yeah, so could I, but we've got work to do.
Yes, we do. However, this car does provide the perfect entrance to the world's most glamorous sports awards in, of all places, Monaco.
Yes, we're in Monaco awaiting the glitterati of the sporting world. We're here to celebrate all sports, from surfing to skiing, from football to fencing.
This is the Laureus World Sports Awards 2019. Good afternoon, hello and welcome. We come to you live from the red carpet in Monaco for the Laureus Sports Awards 2019.
I'm Caroline de Mores and I'm joined by the wonderful Radzi, and we are both so excited to be here because it's the glitterati of the sporting world awaiting to be nominated, awaiting to receive their prizes. And I mean, we've already seen some pretty big legends, haven't we?
Legends is the word. So already we've seen the marvellous Marvin Hagler walk down. He hasn't aged a day in the last 20 years. Had one of the best first rounds ever against Thomas the Hitman Hearns many, many moons ago. But those are just one of the legends that are here. However, I have to say, in terms of 2018, the biggest accolade for me, the person I'm most looking forward to hopefully meeting is Eliud Kipchoge, a man who broke the world record for the marathon in Berlin to the tune of 2 hours, 1 minute and 29 seconds. Some people just want to cross the finish line. Eliud did it in just over 2 hours. He's off the charts.
He is a legend. He's amazing. I think he's won something like 11 out of the 12 marathons that he's ever
11 out of 12?
run. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, amazing.
Okay, on the spot, Caroline, from 2018, which brings us to here, 2019, who are you most looking forward to seeing?
Well, this changed today because I bumped into her in the hotel and she was so excited. She is so young, 16. It's got to be Breanna Williams. She's come all the way from Jamaica. She is bursting with energy and she is so excited. It reminds me of being young. She makes me feel young.
And that is never a bad thing. It's worth pointing out the two people that we mentioned are both nominated for awards. Yes. And to get nominated for an award, that boils down to many journalists, about 1,000 journalists who make the shortlist. And then from the shortlist, the actual winner themselves is chosen by the actual Academy members. And one such Academy member is none other than one of the greatest British athletes of all time. I'm talking about Sir Chris Hoy. 6 Olympic gold medals, 25 World Championship medals, 11 of which are gold. And the man himself is here. Chris, good to see you, sir.
I'm going to say, I'm impressed.
Where's the kilt?
Well, I just thought I'd let you take all the limelight tonight. That's impressive. So have you got any Scottish links, or you just thought you'd give it a go, or?
My mum's from Dundee.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I taught you to ride a bike on the velodrome and you never told me your mum was Scottish.
It's the truth. So what Chris did for Blue Peter, a show back in the UK, I learnt to ride a velodrome bike around with Chris Hoy. Now, Chris said to me, what you do for a K, 1,000 metres, is you go all out. And I said, are you sure? Because I'm going to fade badly. No, I promise you. It turns out my fitness was that bad, I should really have paced myself.
Well, if it hurt a lot, then you were doing it right. It is the best way to do it. You've got to commit, and you did very well. Both of you did very well, actually. So, yeah, that was great. Did you enjoy it?
I absolutely loved it. Excellent. But I also love being here at the Laureus Sports Awards 2019. You are an Academy member. Yes. What does Laureus mean to you?
Well, two things, really. I guess the honour of being part of the Academy. And you come into the AGM the first time and you sit down and you look at the people in the room, and you've got to pinch yourself because it's the people that you watched on TV growing up, being a sports fan like anyone. Boris Becker, Monica Seles, Martina Navratilova, Michael Johnson, Ed Moses, the list goes on and on, Nadia Comaneci, and you think this is incredible, and you're there as part of the same group, so it's a huge honour. Second part, obviously, is to be able to feel like you're doing something good, that you're helping the foundation to improve the world through sport. So it's a fantastic thing to be part of, and the award ceremony is always a great night, so I'm very excited to be here.
Sorry, Caroline, go ahead.
Chris, can I ask you, obviously you're going to know more than most about Sport for Good. Can you tell us why it's so powerful?
Well, I think sport, it transcends nationalities, language barriers, even all the socio-economic factors. It's something that everybody, no matter where you're from or what your background, you can associate with, and it shows that people can come together and hopefully improve the world through sport. Nelson Mandela was the person who said it best. Sport has the power to change the world, and I think that we all believe the same thing. So, tonight you'll see the winner of the Sport for Good award, an amazing group of girls from India who have taken up football, and that's changed their lives. It's provided education for them. It's taken them a completely different path from the route that was kind of destined for them. And you'll see them coming through here soon, I'm sure. The most incredible group of people I've ever spoken to. So their story is very powerful, and I think it'll be quite a special film for everyone to watch tonight.
I'm very much looking forward to that. Can I ask you, as a sportsman who was right at the top of his game, you're still very much involved in it now, what does sport mean to you?
It's a big question. Sport is my life. Even when you retire, you don't just stop loving sport or having sport as part of what you do. I'm a fan of sport. I still do sport for fun now. You see things of being a father now, having 2 small kids, and my eldest is now 4. He's just learnt to ride his bike, and it's remembering that feeling of all these things. The first time you kick a ball, the first time you go out running and playing, exploring, all these things that being a child is all about. So sport is integral to your growing up, and I think that it's an incredibly powerful thing. So it's hard to explain it as one thing, but I think it's important for a whole manner of reasons.
And lastly, what category are you most looking forward to seeing?
I'm most looking forward to the Breakthrough Award, because my old teammate Garrett is up for, he's a nominee in that. So, I think it's a tough one. I think Osaka looks like, I would say, the favourite in that, because she's had an amazing season in tennis. But I'll be cheering Garrett on. And also in the Moment of the Year award, Doddy Weir, who I was a big fan of. I used to go and pay my £3 for a schoolboy enclosure ticket to Murrayfield to watch Scotland play rugby. And he was a hero of mine, and very sadly he's been diagnosed with motor neuron disease, and he came out to the pitch to present the match ball last autumn, and I wasn't there for it, unfortunately, but I saw it on TV, and it was one of the most powerful moments. The whole crowd, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. It was incredible. Both his sons were there with him to present the ball. So he can't be here tonight, unfortunately. He's still fighting on, but his son's coming, Hamish, is going to be here, and I think his cousin is here as well, so they're going to be here to carry the flag, fly the flag for Doddy. So I'll be looking forward to that event as well.
Well, listen, Chris, thank you so much. And Chris did touch on one of the many projects that the Sport for Good Laureus Foundation covers. And here is the Yuva girls, all the way from India.
My name is Nita Kumari and I study in UI school. We are in a village called Hutu. It is in Jharkhand, India. In my family, it's just a rule that a girl should marry after 10. The girls are really young. They don't know about their life and their body, and they are not mature enough to have a baby at 15 or 16. My parents want me to get married because they have not seen any example in a village of an independent girl holding a job. It is frustrating for me listening all the day. I don't want to marry. I don't want to listen. Sometimes I feel like I can't do anything. EY school is built for girls so that girls can have a better education. When I come to EY, I see a lot of friends that they are doing same as me. I play football as well as I am a coach. And I feel like my friends are my family, my teams are my family. So yeah, I want to be an example for other girls so that they can tell their family, wow, see that girl, she has done, why can't I? Sometimes it's good to do what you want because that will make you happy. My name is Nita and I choose my own future.
Well, there we go. We saw an incredible video, and now I am here with the man himself, Franz. First of all, name everybody that you're with so that we know. I know that everyone's excited to be here.
So we've got 4 football coaches here who are also our students. We've got Konika, Hema, Nita, and Radha.
And talk to me, we've just seen a fantastic VT. Talk to me about the work that you do and that you've done for so long in India.
So I've been living in India for the last 12 years and in rural Jharkhand for the last 10 years. We've got a fantastic team of people working with us from all across India, from across the world. These girls are coaching along with 45 others. So what we're trying to do is to help girls to take charge of their own futures in one of the places in the world where it's most difficult to grow up as a girl.
I want to hear from one of you because I know that you guys are excited to be here. We're excited that you're here. Tell us in your own words what it feels like to be in Monaco at the Laureus Awards.
It is very enjoyable for us because it is like a magic land where we come and seeing new people and meeting new people. And like it's my first time to like this type of stage and Laureus Award. So I'm very excited and I'm very happy in this show.
Of course, you guys know that you've won the award because it's the only one that was announced earlier than all the others. How did you all feel when you found out that you'd won? Shall I come to you?
Yeah, we felt really proud that this time we got the Laureus Award, and this will help in from all the Yuva girls, like 450 girls. Yeah, and we are really happy.
Well, listen, I hope that you enjoy the awards. Talk to me a little bit about what we can expect from 2019 from the project. I'll come to you, Rose.
Sure. Over the next year, something we're really hoping to do is to build a permanent school campus. So right now, our entire organization operates off of leased property, and we don't have enough space and we can't grow. And so our hope is that the publicity and the recognition that we're receiving because of this award will help us to grow and to create a permanent campus that will help UWA to last for many years to come.
And lastly, can I ask you, how vital is it that Laureus do the work they do? Because we talk about the sport having the power to change the world, but you're seeing firsthand that it actually is doing that.
There are 3 parts to it. I mean, there's the obvious recognition and prestige of this award. Secondly, there's the funding, which comes through Laureus Foundation. But third, and maybe most importantly, is that they've been working with us for, I think, the last 4 years on organizational development. So they're, I would say, our only partner who's helping us with that, and that's really valuable for us.
Well, listen, the work that you do is incredible, and obviously you're here for a celebration of sport. You're all in sport, and you're changing your own lives as well as other people's. So thank you so much. And the only thing I can say is enjoy your night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now, as soon as the stars arrive here, we'll let you know. We've got the host of the Laureus Sports Awards, James Marsden, has arrived. We'll hopefully be speaking to him in just a few moments, but not before we speak to our guest, the 4 times reigning Ironman champion, Daniela Reef. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks.
Your sport is a very interesting one. I think the word brutal is appropriate, and to be on top of that means you are an unbelievable athlete. How did you get started in Ironman?
Yeah, it's been a long journey. I started when I was 14 with triathlon, so yeah, I just like to swim, bike, and run, and then kind of got into it. It's yeah, sometimes you don't know what's going to happen. You know, you just do it because you like it, and you get better at it, and you become more strong, and then eventually you end up being an Ironman and world champion. So it's, yeah, I've definitely had a bit of luck also, and had the right people at the right time helping me to improve. And yeah, I feel fortunate the way with which I could go. Yeah.
Ironman doesn't always get the recognition it deserves, but you are now nominated as Sportswoman of the Year for Laureus. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's amazing. I feel so honored. I feel absolutely excited to be here, and to be nominated is really huge for me. It feels very special that, you know, the media recognized my achievements, and I feel really honored. And I'm looking forward to a great night.
The atmosphere here has very much picked up on the red carpet, by the way, it has to be said, and that is the power of sport. When it comes to sport, what does sport mean to you in terms of how has it changed your life?
Sport is my life. I mean, the sport gave me, you know, a guideline. I think, especially when you're young, when I was 14, you have lots of things you can go in different directions, and sport was always guiding me into the right direction, and it really helped me to, you know, to define who I am, and to find out what I want to do, and also become confident as a woman. I think it really helped me to believe in myself, and yeah, I think I wouldn't be the person today without the sport. So yeah, it's a huge part of my life.
And in terms of inspiring other people perhaps to get involved with Ironman, or just be a fit person, get fit to become more active, how important is that to you?
Yeah, it's very important. I had the opportunity to, you know, to have a team, a club where I could go and train and get better, and that's what I also try to do now. I have a center at home where we give the kids opportunity to come and train, and so they have the chance to actually be a triathlete too and become a good athlete. And I think every kid deserves a chance, and then they can, you know, become, even if they don't get world champion, it's still a good school for life, and I think it's really important.
It is really important. Thank you so much for your time, and have a lovely evening.
Thank you very much.
Well, we are in Monaco, the stunning city of Monaco, for the World Laureus Sports Awards 2019. And over the weekend, I was lucky enough to get to see some of the best spots. Novak Djokovic won his 4th Wimbledon in 2018. He followed it with the US Open 2 months later. His success in Cincinnati. The Laureus World Sports Awards is back in Monaco. Covering just 2 square kilometres of land, the Principality is the 2nd smallest country in the world. But what it lacks in size, it more than makes up for in sporting heritage. Monaco is synonymous with motorsport, and the Monaco Grand Prix is the most iconic Formula One race in the world. First held here in 1929, it fast became one of the most prestigious events in the motorsport calendar, and now forms the triple crown of motorsport alongside the Indy 500 and the Le Mans. The Automobile Club de Monaco is behind another classic event, the Monte Carlo Rally, winding through the tight bends and curves of the French Riviera and onto the seafront here in Monaco. It's a highlight of the international rally season. It's not just cars that the people of Monaco are mad about. Port d'Hercule and the iconic Prince's Palace provide a unique backdrop for Monaco's annual Show Jumping International. And there's also the Monte Carlo Masters, held on these clay courts overlooking the Mediterranean, just a few yards away from this year's venue at the Monte Carlo Sporting Club. So it should be no surprise that Monaco was the host city for the first ever Laureus World Sports Awards, where Nelson Mandela invoked the spirit of sport and started a global movement.
Sport has the power to change the world.
He was succeeded as Laureus patron in 2001 by Prince Albert of Monaco. The Prince is a keen sportsman, having competed in bobsleigh for Monaco at 5 Winter Olympics. He's also a black belt in judo. Although the awards has travelled around the globe, it's back home in Monaco in 2019.
Being from Wolverhampton, seeing the glamour of Monaco makes me feel right at home, by the way.
Yes, and we are joined by the host of tonight's events, James Marsden. James, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty strong, actually. Yeah, I know that's famous last words, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. This is obviously a first for me. but I'm ready to get out there and have some fun.
In terms of presenting, you're presenting rather than acting. How does that differ from what you normally do?
I'll work in a little bit of my acting into it. No, I think it's sort of bringing me back to my sort of theater roots, where you're out there sort of, gauging the room and feeling it out. But, I'm so stage starved, I like the spotlight on me.
You're, of course, used to the world of Hollywood, but we're here in Monaco, which is pretty similar. But how do the two compare?
Well, one is about 2 square kilometers and one is like way too big. But I think they would compare in a sense that everywhere you look, there's a superstar. And tonight, it's sporting superstars everywhere you look. So I'm sort of awestruck at all the talent that's walking into this place. Just saw Fabio Capello and I think Lindsey Vonn and a few others. So it's cool. So it's like it's celebrities. And maybe that's how they're similar.
Do you have any favourite sports people?
Pardon?
Do you have any favourite sports?
Favorite sports for me, it's not going to be a popular answer here, but it's American football, NBA, basketball. Yeah.
So Golden State Warriors up for best team?
Not a fan.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, no, happy for their success. And wish them the best. But I'm an Oklahoma City Thunder fan.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's, we have specific thoughts about that.
How are you feeling about the playoffs?
I'm feeling strong, but I'm also feeling strong going into hosting tonight. So
Not
those
okay.
could just shift at any point.
But hopefully you feel stronger.
Paul George is doing well. That's a good compliment to Westbrook. We'll see where it goes.
In terms of, are you feeling as strong about the playoffs as you are about your performance tonight?
I wish I was feeling stronger about the playoffs. We'll see.
Well, listen, have an amazing time. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
And we look forward to seeing you maybe afterwards.
Yeah, we'll see if I make it through. Thank you. You got it.
Thank you so much.
Very, very cool guy. I have to say, I'd be somewhat nervous being stood in front of millions of people watching at home.
Yes.
Many, many sports stars at the absolute peak of their powers, the best at what they do, watching James do something that he's not that used to.
But he seemed very confident. He's got that American confidence about him. He was not taking it in his stride. I think he'll be fine. More than fine. I think he'll be brilliant.
I think he'll be brilliant as well. I have to say, behind us, there are some brilliant people. I've seen Mr. Arsene Wenger is on the red carpet already. Arsene Wenger, a man who was at Arsenal for 21 years. As an Arsenal fan, I cannot tell you how pumped I am to see him. But there are sports of all different calibre, whether it be football, whether it be skateboarders, whether it be a whole multitude of different sports. That's why I'm so excited about tonight.
Well, one of the categories tonight is the best sports nominees. I think they're sportsmen. Let's go to that now.
Novak Djokovic won his 4th Wimbledon in 2018. He followed it with the US Open 2 months later. His success in Cincinnati made the Serbian the first winner of all 9 Masters 1000 events. Lewis Hamilton was the dominant force in Formula One, winning his 5th world title to move level with Fangio in the all-time list and just 2 behind Michael Schumacher. The Brit won 11 Grand Prix during the year in the Mercedes-AMG Petronas. LeBron James surpassed Michael Jordan's NBA record of 866 games in a row, scoring at least 10 points. That incredible scoring streak started way back in January 2007. In his last season for the Cavaliers, before moving to LA Lakers, he averaged 27.5 points per game. Kenyan distance runner Eliud Kipchoge broke the marathon world record by an impressive 1 minute 18 seconds in Berlin. He also won a 3rd London Marathon in April. Kipchoge has now won 11 of the 12 marathons he's entered. Kylian Mbappe showed he is the outstanding young talent in football when he shined as part of the French team which lifted the World Cup in Russia. At 19, he became the first teenager to score in the final since Pelé in 1958. He finished with 4 goals and was named Best Young Player. Luka Modric won the Golden Ball for Best Player at the World Cup as Croatia reached the final for the first time. He was also pivotal in Real Madrid's record 12th Champions League and European Cup victory. He has been named UEFA Player of the Year and FIFA's Best Player of the Year.
Well, I've grabbed a skateboarding legend. I'm a huge fan. I am joined by Tony Hawk. How are you doing?
Good. I'm excited to be here. It's been a few years for me. I always had a conflict each year at a skate event, so I'm glad to be here.
Well, I want to ask you, next year, 2020, Tokyo, skateboarding is there. How are you feeling that it's a new sport back in Japan?
I think it's exciting. I think it's long overdue. I mean, and I think that the Olympics need that sort of youthful energy that they got with snowboarding in the Winter Games. So it's a great opportunity for them. It's also a great opportunity for us for a more global audience.
And here, we're in Monaco. We're celebrating sport, not just one sport, but all sports. Is that what makes this event so special, that you will bump heads with swimmers and footballers and skiers and surfers?
That's what makes it unique. Yeah, I mean, it's one of a kind event, and it truly is a world sports award. So you get teams from countries in the most unlikely places competing against U.S. U.S. basketball teams, and it's exciting because it's a great merging of all those worlds.
Of course, behind the Laureus Foundation is Sport for Good. It's the whole message, it's the whole purpose of what Laureus do. How vital is Sport for Good for the world, let alone for the world of sports?
Well, honestly, it's what keeps me coming back. And part of the Laureus Academy is that we do this work for kids in underprivileged areas, trying to get them into sports of all kinds. And I've seen a lot of the work firsthand, and I believe in it.
Listen, Tony, I'm not going to keep you much longer. Go and enjoy your night. Thank you so much for chatting to me.
Thank you.
For myself and Caroline, today is a very special day. However, for my guest, it's an even more special day, if that is even possible, because you are being inducted as an Academy member. How are you feeling?
Oh my gosh, it's all so surreal, but you said it, just so special. I mean, this is such an honor. I feel so humbled to have been asked to do something like this. It's been a dream of mine ever since I first found out about Laureus and what it was and won my first award in 2013. And to come back, 4 years later and be a member, it's my 4th awards, is just incredible.
So Missy Franks, I imagine to be an Academy member, you must be sort of 53, 43 certainly, 33 at the oldest. How old are you?
I'm 23.
Which is the youngest ever.
Yes.
How much of an honor is that?
Oh, it's so surreal. I never expected to be inducted this young, and it was very bittersweet with having to retire so early, but then I always look at the glass half full, and so to have an opportunity like this now is just incredible, and I have so much to learn, and I get to do it from some truly living legends, which is incredible.
You speak about living legends as other people. You're a 5-time Olympic gold medalist yourself, so you're not doing too badly. But also, 2019 is a special year for you because you're getting married.
I am. It's going to be the best year yet. We're so excited. We're getting married in September, and it's just the happiest I have ever been. And so we have so much to look forward to, and this year has already been so exciting with so much more to come.
And just finally, in a word, what does Laureus mean to you?
Inspiration. Just as simple as that. I think this night for me is one of the most inspirational of the entire year, and to learn about the different athletes and their stories and the Sport for Good programs and all the projects that Laureus supports, it really does show that sport can change the world.
Well, thank you so much. You are an inspiration, as is the next guest that's with Caroline right now.
Well, I'm joined on the red carpet by Monica Seles. And first of all, Monica, I've got to draw attention to your sneakers for good, looking very snazzy. Talk about the meaning behind those.
Sports for good. I mean, the sneakers for good. That's why we're here all tonight supporting the Laureus Foundation. And really, in honor, we're wearing this redo it. You can just see I landed.
Listen, talk to me about Sports for Good, because I can tell that it's so close to your heart. Why is it such vital work?
Well, I've been an Academy member for over 10 years now, and really for me it's just giving back to the sports. Sports is an equalizer, kind of how our founding patron, President Mandela said. And for me to go on these different project visits with the Sports for Good Foundation is a huge honor, and I hope I inspire young girls across the world to play sports.
Can you tell me about one of the projects that you have been to, and maybe a fond memory that's stuck with you?
Well, I think the memory that will always stay with me is the one we did in South Africa. I mean, first and foremost, just because I got a chance to meet somebody I really admired as President Mandela at that moment, and really when he talked to me, and with it was just the message he carried on, I just said, I really got to get involved with this foundation and just help kids around the globe, because I know how much sports changed my life. And if I can just even change one other person's life, and hopefully more, and it's a wonderful group of Academy members.
You mentioned there that sport changed your life, and people are thinking, did it change your... Tell us how, because sometimes when you're such a big superhuman inspiration, we're not 100% sure how it did. Tell us in your own words.
Well, I started with a very humble background. You know, I really, as a young girl, where I grew up, you had very few tennis courts, and they weren't allocated to young kids, young girls, but my dad believed in me, and I think I'm forever thankful for that opportunity, and really changed my life. And because of tennis, I was able to do so many things that I really could have only dreamt of as a young girl. But essentially, gotta move a little forward, it keeps hitting me. It's just that I really got to do something that I love to do, and thanks to my hero Billie Jean King, I was actually able to make a living at it. And now at this stage in my life, it's really all about giving back.
Listen, Monica, thank you for speaking to me. Enjoy your night. And I believe Radzi is joined by a very special guest.
Very special does not cover what this man's capable of. I'm talking about the Usain Bolt of distance running. I'm talking about a man who broke the world record in the marathon, 2 hours, 1 minute and 29 seconds. Elliot, how are you, sir?
I'm good.
You are a very, very humble man. Can we talk about that world record? What did that mean to you to make that time?
My world record actually means a lot. It means actually that when you work hard, then you can achieve your goal. It's really spreading a good message to the young generation that working hard and getting focused, then you can achieve what you have planned.
The thing that people don't really know about you is your track career was incredible. You had an Olympic bronze medal, Olympic silver medal, World Championship gold medal back in 2003, but you were in a great era. It seemed that when you transferred to the road, you became great. Did you always know you'd take on the marathon at some stage?
I didn't expect to do well in marathon. I was really, for 10 years, I tried to consolidate myself in track and field. And I was actually making a big transition to marathon. I was not expecting to run as fast as this one, but I had a passion to run, to be among the best marathoners in the world. I had a passion actually to hang one of what we call a world record in my neck one time in my life.
Being from Kenya, I know that sport can really transform lives. What does sport mean to you?
Sport means a lot to me. Sport means health to me. Sport means world to me. Sport actually means peace. A sporting world is a peaceful world. A sporting world is a healthy world. A sporting world is a wealthy world. And a sporting world is an enjoyable world.
What incredibly inspirational words, Elliot. It's an absolute honour to speak to you, sir. I hope you have a fantastic night. You more than deserve it.
Thank you very much.
Now I'll let Elliot get off because Caroline... In fact, Caroline, I'm going to head over to you, Caroline.
Yes, come over to me.
It has been a fab night already. Spoken to Elliot. Just to the side of us there, by the way, is none other than Arsene Wenger. I mentioned him earlier. I'm going to mention him again. It's packed.
Over here,
I genuinely am. Patrick Vieira's on his way as well. So Cesc Fabregas.
Yeah,
this is an Arsenal fest.
Yeah, well, Cesc is ex-Chelsea and I'm a Chelsea fan.
He's also Arsenal. Arsenal in my heart.
Well, listen, one of the categories that we are awarding tonight is the comeback, the World Laureus comeback category. Yes. And so let's get to know all of the nominees.
Reigning Olympic men's figure skating champion Yuzuru Hanyu suffered a serious ankle injury just 3 months ahead of the Winter Olympics. He wasn't able to practice jumps until 3 weeks before the competition. However, he wowed the judges in Pyeongchang and won a second straight gold medal. In March 2017, snowboarder Mark McMorris suffered a life-threatening accident where he broke his jaw, arm and pelvis, ruptured his spleen and suffered a collapsed lung. But he was back in full force at the Winter Olympics, where he secured a bronze medal for Canada in slopestyle. After surviving cancer, snowboarder Bibian Martel Spee had to have the C6 vertebrae in her neck replaced with titanium. She was unable to compete before going into Pyeongchang, but only 6 weeks after leaving hospital, she won 2 Winter Paralympic gold medals. After a serious knee injury during the 2016 Rio Olympics, Vinesh Phogak had to drop out of the competition. Following a year-long recovery, the Indian wrestler came back to win an Asian Championship silver medal in 2018, followed by gold at the Commonwealth and Asian Games. Despite a broken right arm and back injury in 2017, Lindsey Vonn came back to win a bronze medal in the Winter Olympics. It was a personal triumph for Vonn as she had missed the 2014 Games in Sochi with a knee injury. After a year's absence because of spinal fusion surgery, former world number one Tiger Woods won the US Tour Championship in September. He also finished second in the US PGA and sixth in the Open, and was picked for the US Ryder Cup team.
We are joined by a football legend, Arsene Wenger. Now, I know that Radzi is very excited to speak to you, Arsene.
It is a pleasure, sir. You're part of the reason I basically started supporting Arsenal in the first place.
You were not born when I was at Arsenal.
You were there for a while, but sir, you are an absolute legend. But I'm going to get professional now, because obviously we are here at the Laureus Sports Awards, and one of the predecessors, well, I suppose a French predecessor, Kylian Mbappe, he's nominated for Best Sports Person. How impressed are you by him?
Look, the first time I saw him, I said, we have a Pelé in France, you know, and fortunately I was right, because when you look at the boy, he's 20 years old, the way he handles himself, the way he plays on a football pitch, that counts as well. But the all is all there. He looks relaxed, he looks easy, he looks intelligent, he looks performing when it's demanded. He recently scored at Manchester United when Paris Saint-Germain needed him. He scored last night again. So it's all there. And I believe that's just the question we have all now. How high, how far will this guy go? But he's already a world-class player.
He really is. Well, Caroline, you're Brazilian, so I'd be curious to get your take on this.
Well, I have to ask you
They
about...
used to produce this kind of players before, but now we do it in Europe.
What are we doing? I obviously, after 98, I'm not a massive fan of the French national team.
I can understand that.
But they obviously had a phenomenal year in Russia. They've been nominated tonight. What can you talk to us about the French national team?
But I, from the start on, I made them of them one of the favorites, because I felt they had a good balance between physical power and technical quality, and they could play a lot on defensive organization and be very quick on counter-attack. And that's why I felt that the French national team became what is important in the World Cup, stronger and stronger, game by game. And you have seen some teams who have weakened. They played very well, but the closer they went to the final, they became weaker. And the French team was different, you know. They started slowly, and that is always the key for success in the World Cup. They gained confidence, and they had that huge physical power. Pogba, Mbappe, we spoke about Mbappe, Griezmann, Kante, you know, they had...
I was going to mention Kante. I'm a Chelsea fan. I was going to mention Kante. Phenomenal.
Phenomenal. And to have a successful team, you need somebody some players who sacrifice themselves for the team. Don't talk, do it, you know. And when you lose the ball in front of you, he just works for you to win it back, and he gives it back in a proper way. And people who have maybe a small ego, but the bigger spirit of sacrifice, usually they made the difference. We speak about Brazil. You had a player in Brazil that I bought, is Gilberto Silva, who had a similar role in 2002 in the success of a Brazilian national team in Japan.
Arsene, just finally, very quickly, it's an absolute honour to meet you. You've met the UA girls earlier on who are connected to a project of Laureus Sport for Good. It's all about changing lives through sport. How important do you think sport is in people's lives?
Sport is not only very important for any aspect of your life. You learn to respect your body. You have your first enjoyment with sport, you know. And I believe as well, sport can carry values through the whole world that are absolutely vital to unite people. And it has become hugely important. There's a huge responsibility now. And that's why we are in our competitive world, and sometimes we forget the responsibility we have to represent the values that can build a better world. And Laureus tries to do that. That's why I'm very happy to be here. You know, they want to contribute to it.
Arsene, we're very happy that you are here. We won't take up any more of your time. Thank you very much for your time, Arsene.
Well, I have just spotted one of our nominees looking amazing, and of course her coach. Please join us, Atto. Join us.
Let's bring in the sprinting legend, Atto Baldwin. We're talking about a 1997 world champion in the 200 metres, and Breanna Williams, undoubtedly a future world champion. Atto, I'll start with yourself. How impressed are you with your protege, Breanna?
I'm pretty impressed when you go to the World Under-20s and you're 16 years of age and everybody says, oh, it's nice that you're here, but you're running against 19-years-olds and you come away with 2 golds and you're the youngest to do it. That's impressive. And I was a world junior champion, but not at that age.
And also, your personal best is 22.50, which puts you as 21st in the world at your age. How excited are you about the prospect of where your career can go, Breanna?
I'm really excited. I came from a long way. This year, I can definitely say has been the best track career of my year.
Breanna, I have to ask you, because I know that I saw you earlier and you were saying how excited you were to be on the red carpet, the legends that you were going to meet. Has it lived up to your expectation?
Yes, I've met Tony Hawk for the day, and I was so excited. I was in the car with him, and I can't wait to see everyone else.
And you look phenomenal. Can we just get a lovely little pan of her lovely dress? Absolutely stunning.
And let's talk about the World Championships in Doha. So, first of all, they're late this year, which means you have that challenge. But the second challenge is you are young. So, what are your ambitions for that?
My goal for the year is to make the final at least. I know it's kind of hard. I have to put in extra hard work at training. But I'm ready for it, and I can't wait.
And Atto, I'd love to ask you about Sport for Good, because Laureus is all about changing lives through sport. And in terms of what you did with your career, I think you had the first Trinidadian World Championship medal, is that right? And then also in terms of bringing home the first relay medal for Trinidad as well, you've changed the prospect and legacy of athletics in Trinidad. How important do you think sport is in changing people's lives?
Yeah, I mean, I think sport is just about all we have left as a human race. I say it all the time because my example is one thing, and yes, I did a lot of firsts for my country, but I have been to so many other countries in the world, and you realize that the young people, they don't look up necessarily to the politicians. They look up to their sports stars. And when you have a transformative sports star, think Usain Bolt, that's the kind of person that can make a material difference in the lives of young people, and people get inspired. And the greatest thing for me is when I go back home and somebody says, yeah, I'm running track now because I saw you run. That to me that's what it's about. It's not about the medals and the accolades, it's about that.
Interesting.
And Breanna, you talked about Doha and you talked about your goals, and I know that when I saw you earlier, we talked a little bit about the Olympics. What is your aim for the Olympics next year? I can see Atto being like, give me that question, give me that question.
Well, I'm going to be 18. I'm going to be more mature, fitter, and healthier. And honestly, it's just to make the final again. Hopefully, like Doha, hopefully to make the final in Doha and in Olympics Tokyo.
And Atto, you go on. You can answer your version.
Well, the thing is that, she has a good example. Last year, when she was 15, she hadn't turned 16 yet, and we set out our goals for 2018. I said to her, you are going to be the youngest to ever win the double at the World Under-20 Championships. And everybody said, well, those are nice lofty goals, but come on. She's 15, she's only going to be 16, and she did it. So I think that, the reason why you see her setting her goals so high is because she understands now that, look, if you do not set your goals in the stratosphere, if people don't get really uncomfortable when you set your goals, probably should reset your goals. So listen, she's 17 in a month. She's 18 next year. I tell her all the time, she doesn't have to go and win the Olympics. She doesn't have to go and beat anybody. They have to beat her. She's the young one. She has no pressure. So she's enjoying it.
Just so you know, you make me feel really old. So thank you for that. Well, as you can tell, we are behind the scenes here, but I got to go behind the scenes in the gorgeous city of Monaco. 42 nominees, over 65 metres of red carpet, 600 people in attendance, millions watching around the world, and over a year's preparation for this very special event. As you can see, the preparations are happening as we speak, only a few hours until the big day kicks off, but it's time to go behind the scenes. The transformation of the historic Monte Carlo Sporting Club involves specialist crews from all over the world. Here we have a list of all of the former award winners, and these are the who's who of world sport. At the awards later tonight, not only will you have some of the world's finest athletes, you'll also have some of the world's finest voices. I'm talking about the voice of God, aka John Briggs. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, Radzi. How are you?
I am good. I'm excited about seeing what happens in just a few moments' time. How excited are you?
Yeah, I love this. I mean, this is very exciting. One, it's live, and the other thing is it's sport, and I'm a big fan of sport.
Can I also talk about Siri? You were the original voice of Siri.
If you had a phone, an iPhone, and you bought it with the original series on it, it was male, and it was me.
John, thank you very much and good luck for tonight.
Thank you.
I'm going to keep my voice down because the rehearsals are officially underway. Also, you can't see too much about what's going on because that will reveal the winners and no one can know who the winners are tonight. But I'll tell you what, the preparation that's gone into these, over 400 light fixtures and fittings have been used here. Created this. Later on, you will see the who's who of sport all sat there. They've planned out every single seat has an allocated chair to that person. And I'm very excited. Imagine being stood up here and finding out that you've won one of the incredible awards. What a privilege. And by the way, what a view. Look at this.
Well, I'm joined by one of Brazil's Formula One heroes, Emerson Fittipaldi. Emerson, we're here on the red carpet for the Laureus World Sports Awards, but more importantly, the message behind it is sport for good. And you, more than anyone, as an Academy member, what does it mean?
Well, I think the Laureus objective to help kids all over the world to give self-esteem, to take out from the streets, to have a dream, to be someone that people likes and he likes himself first for the future. And I think that the main purpose for the Academy is this, with using the power of the sport, like our patron, our Godfather told us, Mandela told us, sport has the power to change the world. And it's correct. I've been on different projects in Morocco, in New York, in Brazil. And when you see these kids smiling, and when we come, you know, most of them, they don't know who we are, but they get so much motivation. We can change their future. We can change their hope in life.
Absolutely, and you did say to me that Mandela has the power to change the world, and that is what the Laureus Foundation is doing, and it's because of Academy members just like you. So thank you so much for speaking to me, and enjoy your night, Emerson.
Well, it'll be a great night, I'm sure. It's always difficult to vote on the best. Yes. To the best, it is so difficult for us to vote to be correct, because they're extremely incredible athletes from all over the world. It's fantastic.
Well, listen, thank you so much. I'm going to throw to Radzi, who is waiting by with Alex Scott.
Yes, we're going to keep the theme of football going with a lady who is a centurion of caps for England and also the former Arsenal captain, Alex Scott. How are you?
I'm good. So excited to be here. This is my first one this evening.
That makes the two of us. I've got no advice for you because I've never done it before. What are you expecting? What are you most excited about?
I'm just excited to see everyone in the building, the athletes, the former athletes, managers. I was actually in the car on the way here with Fabio Capello.
Nice.
So, things like that just make the whole event so special.
We just spoke to Arsene Wenger, but I know that you work a lot with children and you use your sporting legacy to help kids. How has sport changed your life?
Well, one, I think is so important. Well, for me, it's so important to use my platform to be able to inspire. I say pay it forward, so to give people that, you know, don't think that they'll have the opportunity, that people actually care. You know, that's the thing that makes me feel so passionate about helping children in disadvantaged areas, because sport gave me so much. It was my escape from the East End of London, playing in that football cage. That's where my dream started.
And actually being a pundit and being a female pundit in a world of male pundits, I suppose you're also a real figurehead yourself, actually just being on TV talking about men's football as well.
Yeah, I think people look at me and they believe that there's an opportunity for them. So if I can keep being great in the position that I am and they want to aspire to be like me, then I'm doing something good.
Alex Scott, I absolutely love it. Thank you very much. Have a wicked evening. Caroline.
Right, well, I am here in Monaco, and when you think of Monaco, you think of the Formula One, and my colleague, my very lucky colleague Florian, got to spend some time with David Coulthard.
Every journey has its beginnings, and my little trip with David Coulthard also starts at the very beginning.
Who changed the game for you when you were a kid?
My father changed the game for me. He had a vision that I had the potential to become a professional.
Children are our future, but not every child has the same opportunities. How do you change the game for kids?
Children, they're born full of love and joy and happiness, and the more you can stimulate them, and I think sport is a fantastic way to do so.
A father always has to be some kind of role model, whether you want it or not.
How important is it to take on responsibility for the generation of tomorrow?
They need opportunity, they need to explore, they need to find their own capabilities, whether it's their physical capabilities through sport or their mental capabilities, to really understand how to best develop in their life.
Well, we are back in the game with none other than Fabio Capello. Fabio, in terms of the sports men nominated, we have Luka Modric and we also have Mbappe.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite out of those two?
No, for this season, I like Modric. I like Modric for the career, for everything that he made for the national team, for the Real Madrid. But I think the future is Mbappe. Mbappe, I think, will be the new gold ball, Pallone d'Oro, and because he's fantastic, he's fast, he's good technically, and he's really young. I think the future will be for him.
On that note, what do you think is a bigger accomplishment, winning a Champions League or winning a World Cup?
It's two different things.
Yes.
A really big different things. I won the Champions League, Coppa Campioni, as a manager, but it's a team with different players coming from the different countries, and you have to work to create the team. When you win the World Cup with the national team, it's the nation. Behind you is all the people, all the nation, not only the fans. It's big difference, big difference.
And Fabio, I'd love to ask you, tonight we're here to celebrate the best of the best in the sports world, but it's across all different sports, and the message, of course, is sport for good, because it does have the power to change lives. How has football changed your life?
Yeah. The football changed my life because I started to play when I was 14, 4, and I lived from my house, from my family, and I started when I was really young. And I finished last year when I was 72. What do you think? I was fantastic as a young player, fantastic as national team player, and fantastic as a manager. Every time for me, football has been the life. And really lucky because I found I met a lot of people, a lot of different countries. Italy, different cities in Italy, different countries, Spain, England, Russia and China. What do you think about the football? About the football?
Have you been to Wolverhampton, Fabio? Have you been to Wolverhampton?
I played against.
Did you? Played against Wolverhampton? That's the highlight of his career.
Keep chatting away. They mentioned Luka Modric and they mentioned Kylian Mbappe, and those are the sports men of the year. But now let's look at the nominees for the Laureus World Sports Women of the Year.
2019 nominees for World Sportswoman of the Year include Winter Olympic champion Esther Ledecker, the Czech skier and snowboarder who became the first woman to win gold in 2 different sports at the Winter Olympics. She took the Alpine Super G, where she was ranked 49th, then switched to snowboarding to win the parallel giant slalom. She's up against Simone Biles, the first female gymnast to win all 4 all-round world titles. In 2018's World Championships in Qatar, the American took 4 gold medals, a silver and a bronze. At just 21, she now has a record 14 career world titles. Simone is nominated alongside fellow Team USA athlete Mikaela Shiffrin. Although the weather interrupted her plans to compete in 4 Winter Olympic events, she won the gold in the giant slalom and silver in the combined. Throughout the winter, she dominated the World Cup, taking both overall and slalom titles for the 2nd year straight. Simona Halep is nominated after winning her first Grand Slam at the French Open. Coming from a set and a break of serve down to beat Sloane Stephens, the Romanian also reached the finals of the Australian Open but lost to Caroline Wozniacki. Also in the mix, Swiss Ironman triathlete Daniela Ryf. She won her 4th straight World Championship victory in Hawaii. Her 2018 win was the best of them all. She broke the overall Ironman record with a time of 8 hours and 26 minutes 18 seconds and knocked more than 20 minutes off her own Kona course record. The final nominee for Sportswoman of the Year is Angelique Kerber. The German beat Breanna Williams in straight sets in just over 1 hour to win her first Wimbledon title and her 3rd career Grand Slam. Earlier in the year, she won the Sydney International event and reached the semi-final of the Australian Open.
So much talent and such a difficult choice to choose from the women. Who would you go for, Kaz? I'll put you on the spot.
Well, as a former gymnast, who do you think I'm going to go for? I would absolutely go for Simone Biles because she has just done the undoable. She's a powerhouse. She is a superhero, a very tiny superhero, but a superhero nonetheless.
The list is... It's astounding, actually. We've got a list of all the potential award nominees there, and when it comes to women, I'd say that's probably the most difficult because you've got Naomi as well when it comes to Naomi. Yes. And in terms of tennis, the man of the hour, Novak Djokovic, has just arrived on the red carpet. He is a nominee for one of the best sportsmen of the year. He's donning his trainers there, and he looks very, very sharp with his partner going on the red carpet. It'll take him a few moments, I imagine, because I imagine lots of people will want to talk to him. Hopefully we'll catch a word with him. Behind us, actually, is a woman who's nominated for Breakthrough of the Year, which is Lindsay Vonn. We'll be speaking to her. The faces...
Comeback of the year.
Comeback of the year. Thank you very much. Though. Yes, there are.
So many categories that it's incredibly hard to keep track, and so many sports that I am losing my mind.
There's an element of imposter complex here because there are so many people. There are people that have, like I say, dominated downhill skiing. There are people who've dominated World Cups, won them both as captains and as head coach. I'm, of course, talking about Didier Deschamps, one of only 3 men to do that, by the way. Now, should we see if we can speak to Didier?
Yes,
now, I have to say, I apologise in advance.
To Didier.
Didier, lovely to meet you, sir. Oh, would you like to come in? Mon français, ce n'est pas bien.
Ah bon?
Pardon, sir.
Sorry.
Un petit peu.
Moi, je peux un peu.
I will try in English.
Didier, how are you?
Fine, very fine. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I am sure it will be an amazing night, with a lot of big legend in football and other sports. It's a pleasure. Really, it's a big pleasure for me to be here.
And I want to ask you about sport for good, because Nelson Mandela famously said that sport has the power to change the world. We spoke to Fabio Capello earlier, and he said that sport changed his life, and it changes the lives of so many. And that's just football, but all sports change everyone's life. Do you agree? And if so, how did it change yours?
Yes, of course. It's my first of all, it's my passion. And my passion will become my work every day. I am lucky to be a footballer in my first life, and now to be a coach. Of course, sport is very important for everybody, for young people, for daddy, for mom, for everybody to be good in your head and in your body. And I think for the society also it's important, the sport. When you make sport, it doesn't matter what sport you want to do, but it's important to be together, to fight together. I think there is a lot of things in sport. These things are so important during your life.
And we spoke to Arsene earlier, didn't we?
He's incredibly impressed at the France winning the World Cup and complimented yourself. What are the chances? How proud are you of France winning the World Cup? Because France, the French football team, are nominated as best team of the year.
It was a fantastic moment. You know, when you are in football with a national team, there is not something up than a World Cup. It's the most important trophies you can win, and we are very lucky because we won this trophy in Moscow the last Sunday.
Well, Didier, thank you very much for your time. Have a lovely evening,
It was a
sir.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I've managed to just grab, we're going from one to the other. I've managed to just grab Lindsay Vonn.
Oh, that's a sick outfit.
Thank you very
I
much.
think you beat me. I think I think you win.
Well, I feel underdressed next to you, Lindsay.
Just need a couple of gems or something and you'll be good to go.
How are you, Lindsay?
I'm hot.
Nice.
I'm very hot and sweaty, but it's great. I'm happy to be here. It was a long trip. I came from the U.S., but you know, it's an honor to be at the Laureus Awards. I've been nominated a few times, never had the privilege of coming. So finally, now that I'm retired, I can come.
And comeback of the year. I mean, we're talking about a lady here with 132 World Cup medals, 85 of which are gold. Your legacy is absolutely incredible. Do you have a particular highlight, whether it's the Winter Olympics, the World Championships?
I think winning the Olympics in 2010 was the highlight of my career, just because my family had given up so much, and you know, that was my dream since I was 9 years old. So very, very emotional day for me. And you know, in the past few years, I think I've had a lot of emotional races coming back from so many injuries, but still the Olympics, #1.
And I've got to ask, Sport for Good, which is everything that Laureus incorporates, what does that mean to you?
I mean, there's so many positive things that you can take away from sports. They teach you so much about yourself and how to treat others. And I think what Laureus is doing with Sport for Good is incredible. You know, trying to expand sports around the world and encourage kids to interact in ways that they might never have interacted before.
Well, listen, best of luck. Can I just finally ask you, how did you feel when you found out you got nominated?
I was really excited. You know, honestly, of all my comebacks, I don't know if that was the most severe. But, you know, like I said, just to be nominated is an honor. And obviously to be in this room with so many amazing athletes is incredible.
Well, listen, Lindsay, I won't keep you any longer. Best of luck and enjoy your night. I think, from what I can see, look, if we found someone else in a kilt. Radzi has found a little kilt in crime. His partner in crime is David Coulthard, I believe.
Partner in crime, brothers in crime, kilt brothers here. We have the Campbell tartan, we have the Black Watch tartan. We have a Highland fest going on here, David.
Yeah, and Lindsay's just asking about, is this like a trend? What do you think?
I'm just curious, what designer is this?
Oh, it's a very McQueen.
Old school. That's what this is, Lindsay.
This is impressive, but did you guys like coordinate? Like, did you call each other and were like, hey?
We're from the same family.
We go way back.
See that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cousins.
Cousins.
He's
Well,
distant.
you did a great job matching. You should have told me. I didn't get the memo.
Did you not get the email? You don't check your emails, Lindsay.
I know.
I think you would wear the kilt better than us. So
You know, I just
agree.
I'd make it a little shorter and put some gems on, and I'd be good to go.
Excellent. Well,
Enjoy it.
He's taking my mic and everything.
Let's talk about Laureus. Laureus is very close to your heart. You're massively involved. What does it mean to you?
Well, I know how lucky I've been in making my journey from a wee village in Scotland. You know, you originate with your family from Dundee, which is a big town, but I came from a place of 300 people. So for me to have made this journey to be a Grand Prix driver, it's without the help of so many people. And I think that as a sports person, you only become professional if you've been given a lot of help along the way. So I think that what Laureus does is create opportunities. It's not about trying to find the next, Usain Bolt or Lewis Hamilton. It's about giving opportunity for people to see that sport can bring you together, give you great life lessons. You won't always win. You need to learn how to deal with loss. And these are character-building moments which enable you to develop as a man and woman.
As somebody that's now retired from sport, what's your euphoria moment now? Because you're not going to cross the finish line first, as it were, but can you still almost either vicariously enjoy sport, or do you just enjoy being slightly fit, or where does your enjoyment come from?
I don't have any competitive desire anymore. I was watching the Formula 1 testing today from Barcelona, and I look at them driving the car and I can remember driving, but I have no desire to be a driver anymore. And in fact, I said to my wife, winter testing, I couldn't do it now because I just don't have the energy at 48 years old. So I get pleasure out of watching sort of national sporting events, whether it's England, Scotland and rugby, or can't really say England, Scotland and football. We don't tend to compete on an equal level, but I can really really get sort of proud of my Scottish heritage in those moments. But otherwise, I'm not really a sports fan in as much that, you know, I'm a Man U fan or, you know, the Lakers or whatever it is. I'm just admire all sports, and that's why for me to be able to come to Laureus, to see these great athletes, to hang out and to, you know, to be able to know that we've all sort of lived that journey of commitment and passion and determination, and then we're brought together by Laureus, and we know that this is an opportunity to give back.
And Sport for Good does exactly that. It gives back. How much does that influence in terms of the way that you think? Because for me, sports changed my life. I was inspired by lots of sports people. That got me involved in TV, and here I am speaking to you. Is it ever away from your mind?
I never lose sight of the fact, and I don't think I've ever lost sight since I consider myself a mature man. Maybe in my early, you know, sort of late teens, early 20s, I wasn't fully a mature man. You know, I was still sort of completely focused on where I wanted to get to. But once I realised what it was to be a professional sportsman, I've never lost sight of how lucky I have been to have been given that opportunity. And I think that sport has allowed me to travel the world, to have one of the best educations, global educations I could ever have dreamt of, and then I get to come and stand and be interviewed by you. So how good is that?
Well, David, it's an absolute treat for myself. Have a fantastic evening, sir.
Thanks very much.
Good to me.
I don't think there's any other kilters here, is there? It's just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Right.
Just the two C's. My surname is Chinyanganya, so we've got Coulthard, Chinyanganya,
Right.
brothers for life.
Okay, I'll see you at the bar.
Those two crack me up. And one of the categories that is very popular, it's voted for by the public, and it is the Laureus World Sporting Moment of the Year. There are so many that we can think of, but here are the nominees.
It will be a special moment, an emotional moment for Doddy Weir. One of Scottish rugby's favourite sons.
And lost a lot of power in the left hand, and then not long after that, there was twitching started in my skin. So I've got 3 young boys. You always want to try and grow up with them if you can, and that is a worry and a concern. The help of everyone that's been in touch, this is, I would hope, very possible.
实现了我40多年来的梦想，终于登上了珠峰。这就是我一个心愿嘛，我想我一定要完成。假肢你肯定不能和真腿相比，你踩在哪儿你就不知道这个石头高低啊、平衡啊，你也掌握不好。一览众山小吧，反正是所有的山峰都在你脚底下。
Now, by now, you've probably gotten the gist that there are a lot of sports stars here. However, there are also singing superstars as well. One who's singing later on is Jorja Smith. How are you, Jorja?
I'm very good, thank you.
Awesome outfit, by the way. Can we take a little look at this? Can you explain it? I can't really describe it.
Well, I'm styled by my very good friend Leah, and she just always puts me in the best looks. And we thought orange is like summer, even though it's not warm. We thought it was going to be warm, but it's not. So maybe I'm bringing warmth, I don't know.
Well, to be honest with you, these lights are bringing a lot of warmth because I am sweating. I arrived, I was 20 stone, so I've lost a little bit of weight. So I know with yourself, when it comes to sport isn't necessarily your thing, but you like to be active, you like to stay fit.
Yeah, I like running. I run a lot. I try and like do 5K and get like my goal better. Like at the moment, it's like 30 minutes.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's all right. So I run, and yeah, that's it.
Do you need to be fit to actually be able to perform? Because I imagine singing and holding notes and stuff like that, you've actually got to kind of have a bit of a cardio capacity.
I think, well, I don't move a lot about on stage. Okay. But you have to have a good breathing technique. But I'm not really dancing around. I'm quite still.
Nice. One of the things we've been talking about today is sport for good, which is all about changing lives through sport. So you might not necessarily do sport per se, but do you think sport changes lives?
I think so. I use it because I think it helps me focus. You know, I like boxing as well, so running and boxing. So I like to box because that just, I can get all energy and anger or whatever emotion I'm at, I can just focus on that and just, it's good, it clears your head. And running as well, clears your head. So I think it's good.
That's perfect talking to you then. So he does it in a very different way. So it almost allows you to cope almost on the mental health side.
Yeah, definitely, because it's important and there's so many different ways to deal with your mental health, and I think my way is just exercising and thinking about my goal in running rather than everything I've got to deal with after I've left the gym.
I like it a lot, but what you've got to deal with after this is a performance. What are you singing?
I'm going to sing 2 songs from, well, one song from my album called On Your Own and then a single called On My Mind.
I heard your performance recently on Radio 1. We did Cry Me a River. That was awesome. And was that live?
That was definitely live.
How was that?
It was really cool. I love singing live. I prefer singing to an audience rather than just in a room knowing there's like loads of listeners. But then I know this is televised, so I guess it's the same kind of thing.
So what is it like when you're about to perform? They're about to throw to you to give the performance of your life. We were talking about it in a sporting context, but you're singing. How nervous do you feel?
I'm more excited. I love singing and I love performing and singing my songs and just reminiscing to when I wrote them. So I just get excited about it, yeah.
George, it's been a pleasure talking to you. So we're going to go from one incredible orange dress to another incredible pink dress.
That's right. I'm joined by Sportswoman of the Year nominee Stephanie Gilmore. Stephanie, you are looking incredible.
Thank you so much. I love this dress.
And I'm going to have to stand on my heels because I've got sneakers on and you're in incredibly tall heels and you're already very incredibly tall. Let's talk about the nomination. How excited are you and how excited were you when you found out you were nominated?
Yeah, I love the Laureus Awards and I love everything about the foundation and the Academy, and it's just, you know, these are the Oscars of sport awards, so it's really special to be nominated again, and it'll be a tough task to try and win because the category is full of incredible athletes, and you know, it's really, this is what I love about this event, is just coming here and being amongst people that just inspire me so much.
And let's talk about surfing next year in the Olympics. What is your personal opinion? Because I know that there's been mixed reviews about it. How do you take surfing in Japan 2020?
It's as exciting as you can imagine. I think that this is an amazing opportunity for any surfer to have the chance to go to the Olympics and win a gold medal. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? And yeah, Japan will be interesting. There are actually pretty good waves in Japan. People get surprised by that, but yeah, we're going to show up and see what happens. Of course, we have to qualify first, but that's what I'll try my hardest to do this year, and it's really fun to have a new goal and, you know, something new to chase after.
Well, something told me that you were going to say that because you've dominated your sport and now you have the opportunity to potentially get an Olympic medal.
Yeah, exactly. I think the World Surf League, our world title, is still the highest achievement for us because it's, you know, the winner is across so many different types of conditions and it's all year long, and the Olympics will be just the one event. So I think for surfing, because we're dealing with the ocean and the conditions are always changing, it'll be, you know, so hard to show up and do your thing. But at the Olympics, that's also what makes it so special and unique, is that if you can show up on that day and just bring it, even though you've had 4 years since the last one, you know, the pressure of that is insane, and I really think that that's when the magic comes out for athletes.
Well, Stephanie, best of luck, enjoy your night, and now I believe that Radzi is joined by a founding Academy member, Boris Becker.
And founding member is the word, Mr. Boris Becker. Good evening, how are you, sir?
Good evening. I'm humbled to be again on the red carpet at Laureus, surrounded by superstars of sport. I just walked in with Novak Djokovic, so the evening is good.
Evening is very, very good indeed. We've spoken to Academy members. We haven't spoken to a founding member. You are a founding member. How did it start?
Well, 19 years ago in Monaco, we were approached by our founding partners to start this new sporting academy. Nobody really knew what it's all about. We were just told that, you know, the likes of Edwin Moses and Daley Thompson and so many other, you know, superstars are here, and I came, and then all of a sudden we had the morning meeting and Nelson Mandela himself came into the room and we were starstruck. Nobody could speak, and then he became our honorary president for many years, and then that's when the famous speech, World Sport has the power to change, that's where it started. So here 19 years ago it all began.
Well, he would be 100 if he were here today. What was that man like meeting him? I've obviously seen speeches and he's a hero of mine, but you've met him.
Yeah, we were honored to meet him again in South Africa for various Laureus events there, and just, you know, you meet a lot of people in your life, and you know, he was different. You know, everybody really kept quiet and listened to his words and his wisdom, and then just the fact that he thought sport was so powerful made us all, you know, proud to be sportsmen and women.
In terms of all the sports people you've met over the years, are there any that stay with you about a piece of advice they gave you, or just perhaps a memory that you have with them?
Well, sport is a good life teacher about staying humble, playing within a team, you know, be disciplined, value the important things in life, and I think that's a life lesson we all learned, and whether you're 20 or you're 51, they all apply the same.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, so have a lovely evening.
Thank you very much.
Caroline, it's back to you. Karen speaking, we're going to move this way. We're going to ask the cameraman to pan right, and here we are here. Hello. And can I just say, Beatrice, one of my favourite moments of the Paralympics in 2016 was genuinely seeing you fence. And if you haven't seen this at home, you must jump online and see this. So Beatrice wins gold, and what happens, the emotion that you let out, it genuinely brought me to tears.
Thank you.
And so meeting you in person is an absolute pleasure. Can I ask the first question, Caroline? Because I've got a question.
He genuinely told me that when we first saw your name. He said, let me tell you about Beatrice. This is what she did. YouTube it now. So that was a genuine comment.
What did it mean to you to finally win that? Because it was a long match, and then you found out that you won and you let out that scream. What did it mean?
Yeah, you know, I began fencing when I was 5 years old, and I had my legs, my hands and all, and I began dreaming the Olympic game when I was really young. So when I had the disease, for me was like, okay, now what happened? How can I arrive to be part of my dream? So the Olympic was not possible, and then I found that there were this new world of the Paralympic sport that is an amazing world, and I completely fell in love with that. And then I discovered the Paralympic Games, so my dream changed from the Olympic to the Paralympic. So being there with my family, and either my coach is really strictly. So for the 3 weeks before, I didn't see my family. So when I won the competition, he told me, if you won the competition, you can go to them. And so I was really excited. I was like, okay, I have to win, I have to go to them. So I won the medal, and then, but the athlete had to do all the interview, all the picture, and also we couldn't see the family directly after the competition. So during the gold medal, the premiation, my coach told me, okay, now you have to interview, but when I say go, you have to run and go to your family. So okay, I was like with my gold medal on my hands, and I was like waiting for that go. And then when he told me go, you have to go, I just ran into my family. I was so happy to have met all of them. So it was crazy because it's just such a big emotion, was my dream. So, you know.
You're incredible.
You're a former winner of a Laureus Award. How does it feel being here? What is going through all of the nominees' mind?
For me, it was great. For me, it was a really big emotion, and I think the Paralympic category could be a really important thing. So for me, that year in 2017 was really tough because I really didn't know about it. So when I discovered it, was such an emotion. I began crying, and everyone was crying, and everyone was stand up and clapping their hands. So it was great. So I think being here, I just want to see all the medalists. I just want to see all the people that it's gonna be to win. So my favorite part of all the competition is see the emotion of the people, not the competition, not everything. I just want to see the emotion. So this is a big event, and everyone is gonna be something.
Beatrice, you made a lovely quote where you said, I'm the lucky 3%.
You said it a lot.
Could you explain that for us?
Yeah, because my disease is a particular disease in which 97% of people die in the first 84 hours. So if you are that 3%, I think you are really lucky. And in Italy, it's quite famous, the disease, but now there's a vaccine. So, and I should have the vaccine, but then my mom asked to the wrong doctor if I have to do the vaccine, and he told me, yeah, she's too young, she don't need it and all. And 2 years later, I had the disease. That is meningococcal, is the name of my disease, the bacteria. And so I think if you are the 3%, and then you are lucky to have a great family that support you, and sport can support you a lot. So be an athlete before was really important for me. So I think if you are the 3% and you are the little percent of the 3% that are happy, that's great.
Not only are you part of that 3%, but you are part of an even smaller percentage that have won a Paralympic medal. And that is just incredible. So much talent in this room. I am just I think both me and Radzi are just so inspired. And we're in awe of it. We're in awe. And all of this is also, we've got to talk about sport for good. How important is sport for good? Because sport has the power to change the life of anyone.
I think it's really, really important, either because I began Paralympic fencing thanks to a non-profit association, because there's no one athlete in the world without the hands who hold the foil. In my case, it's the foil. So I found my parents created this almost association in order to help all the people to have prostheses, to have a wheelchair and crutches for practice sport, because in Italy those cost a lot and the state doesn't give you. So for me, I began fencing thanks to an always association, a non-profit association. So I think I'm part of all the possibility of no-profit association in order to help as much people we can, because if we can do something good for the other, I think it makes me and all the other people happy and all. So I think many people are trying to find the happiness, but in my opinion, and it is the opinion of my family, I'm so lucky because my family is a great family, and my parents teach me that if you don't have to find happiness, but if you make someone happy, you will be happy. So.
Wow, I'm genuinely blown away. Yeah, absolutely. And what Beatrice is talking about there when she says family is team. And here's the Laureus Team of the Year nominees.
The captain Thomas Bjorn, Europe's Ryder Cup golf team, had one of their biggest wins in the history of the series against a highly regarded United States team. They won 17.5 to 10.5 at Paris National. Francesco Molinari, Tommy Fleetwood and Sergio Garcia were among the European stars. The French World Cup squad won their second FIFA World Cup 20 years after their first, led by Didier Deschamps, the third man to be captain and coach of a World Cup winning team. Their squad included teenage star Kylian Mbappe, who scored 4 goals and was voted Best Young Player. The Golden State Warriors beat LeBron James's Cleveland Cavaliers 4-0 in the 7-match series to win their third NBA championship in 4 years. Kevin Durant was Finals MVP for the second year ahead of Steph Curry, averaging 28.8 points per game. The Mercedes-AMG Petronas team won their 5th straight Formula One Constructors' World Championship, with Lewis Hamilton once again the drivers' champion, ably supported by teammate Valtteri Bottas. Norway, with its population of just 5 million, broke the USA's record for the most medals awarded at a Winter Olympics. The team was inspired by the impressive victories of cross-country star Marit Bjorgen and the downhill exploits of Axel Lundvindel. Under coach Zinedine Zidane, Real Madrid won their 3rd straight Champions League, giving them a record 12 in total. Midfield playmaker Luka Modric won the UEFA Player of the Year award, while Cristiano Ronaldo was the Champions League top scorer with 15 goals.
Isn't just sports legend, it's also a royal affair, because His Royal Highness has just arrived, as you can see there.
Prince Albert, he is very excited to meet the one and only Radzi Chinyanganya. And we are excited to hopefully meet him a little bit later on. I imagine he'll be a very busy man as he walks down the red carpet, and fingers crossed at the very end of today's proceedings we'll get to speak to the man himself. That will be an absolute honour. He's a 5-time Winter Olympian, by the way, in bobsleigh. He's also a black belt in judo.
But you still have to curtsy.
Do I have to curtsy as well?
Yes, of course you do.
How do you curtsy? How do I curtsy? Does it have to be left to right? You see, Caroline used to be a dancer, so everything Caroline does, she has great posture. I'm sort of like this, and I feel
absolutely not true. You've got phenomenal posture.
Thank you very much. The check is very much in the post. By the way, this night has just raced on.
It has. I thought we had just started, and
you may just saw in the back of shot there. That was my brother. He's got a mini afro. That lad, Torin, cameraman Torin.
Here's your brother, and also Djokovic is in the house. He is making his way down the red carpet, so we don't know how long it will take before he gets to us, because everyone and their mother wants to speak to him.
We will try and nab the man, because I tell you what, 15 Grand Slams. I think I'm right in saying 7 Australian, 4 from Wimbledon, 3 from the US, and 1 from the French. He has the entire quad, as they say.
He started 2019 as he means to go on.
Yes, came back after his elbow injury, his elbow surgery, in fact. He won, I think, the French in 2016, and then he won Wimbledon again in 2018 after that long layoff. People said his career might be behind him. Well, I tell you what, he proved all the naysayers wrong.
Yes, I believe he beat Kevin Anderson at Wimbledon 2018, but the Australian Open, he took it, and he's here at the Laureus Award. We're breathing the same air as him right now.
And he is enjoying it. That's what I'm interpreting from his posture, I think.
That's exactly what his posture is saying, that he is loving the air that we are all breathing.
Should we talk about some of the actual award categories? So in this, we've mentioned best sportsman, best sports women. In fact, we're going to flick the camera over to this one. We're going to stay on this one, because I like speaking next to Caroline. So Caroline can be in vision, and we can speak together as one. Teamwork, like the best team of the year.
Oh, look, this is why. This is why he's here.
Okay, so we've also got best comeback of the year.
Yes.
And then we've also got best breakthrough. Now, one of those people might be Geraint Thomas. Geraint Thomas was a man who actually won the BBC Sports Personality of the Year, an incredible cyclist, incredibly humble as well. Who do you think could potentially win some of the other categories?
Well, I think Djokovic will take his category, but that's just because, for me, he's done so much, and I'm a massive fan. But it's a very tough category. We've got Lewis Hamilton.
We've also got best action. That's one of my personal favourites, because Anna Gasser, this lady is off the charts, Austria's finest export at the moment. She's a lady who, none other than the world champion from 2016, Nico Rosberg. Please come in the middle, sir.
Please do.
Yes, please do, Nico.
You're looking great, and you've got your sneakers for good on.
Yes.
Of course. Well, that's what we're here for. We're here for good.
And Nico, you've had the shortest journey of anybody here today.
Yes, that's true. 50 meters.
50 meters.
I can walk home, and it's going to take me 2.5 minutes.
What does sport for good mean for you? How has sport changed your life?
Sport has given me so much. It's unbelievable, really, for my life in every sense of the word. Even progress for me as a human, learning how to interact within a team, how to grow as a team, emotional intelligence, everything. Even working towards a dream and a goal, dedication. Absolutely everything, and even where I am now, it's even gone to the extent of making me wealthy in that sense, financially independent, all these things. So it's just so much, and I'm so thankful, and that's why it's really a pleasure to be here as well, because I know that behind the awards, is the more important matter, which is really supporting young kids, especially in developing countries, and giving them all the things or trying to give them a lot of the things that I just mentioned, especially hope for a greater future.
Let's bring Novak in, sir. Hello, Novak and Nico, two absolute legends of their sport. Novak Djokovic, 15-time Grand Slam winner, and I think I'm right in saying, I mentioned it earlier, 7 times US champion, or 7 times Australian Grand Slam, 4 times Wimbledon, 3 times US, and once French.
Amazing.
Yes, I got it right. I'm getting a pay rise for that.
Good with numbers.
How are you, Novak?
Great. I'm obviously honored to be here, stand next to Nico and champions alike that have made a great mark and legacy in their sports, and obviously we're all here to celebrate sport and all the values that we all try to represent, that we all try to stand for.
And Nico, I have to ask you, what do you think of this gentleman next to you?
Oh, I love tennis. So I was even in the national team here in Monaco when I was younger. Yeah, so I'm watching everything, of course, and really impressed. And what I find really so powerful is also the comeback. Yeah, because I know how it is when you're right down and it's very, very dark. And then to fight back out of there, that's really maybe even more special than the many records or whatever. It's to do a comeback like that, and that's something I really respect a lot.
Thank you, Nico. It's a powerful message. It truly is. And he was also coaching me actually in one training session about 2 years ago. He came in. Yeah, he came in.
He
made a difference. He made a difference.
Every little step is important.
Made me focus even more for my ball. I had to be fast because he likes fast. He likes speed.
Well, Novak, the same year that you won the French Open, Nico became a world champion. Do you take inspiration from other sports people just like Nico?
Absolutely, absolutely I do. And to give him credit for everything he has done throughout his career. And as he was mentioning, when you feel like it takes only one more step to get to a desired place, but you fail, And to quote a great Michael Jordan, he said, "The reason why I succeeded is because I failed, and that's why I succeeded." And you know, it happens so many times, and in our sports and our lives and careers, we kind of have to get used to it. And when you actually achieve it, it makes it that much special. So his journey and everything he has been through, I followed it, and obviously we live in the same place, so we get to walk our babies around and talk about sports and different things in life.
And Nika, sorry to jump in, to that point, so in 2014, 2015, you came second, and then you won it in 2016. So exactly like Novak's saying, it was failure, if you want to look at second as failure, and then you get the victory.
Yeah, it's one of these very, very important lessons that sport can teach, yeah? That failure is an incredible opportunity to grow, yeah, and to rise above yourself. It's not necessarily a bad thing, yeah? And that's something, if we can manage to learn that a little bit, it has so much power for our lives. This is one of the great things for sport.
And Nico, you touched on Sport for Good. That is the reason why we're all here, the foundation and the work that it does. Novak, I want to ask you, how important is sport in changing the lives of so many?
Well, Nelson Mandela, the founder of Laureus, said it beautifully, that the sport speaks universal language, and it has the power to change life and the world and life of many people, especially young people. And the Sport for Good, Laureus Foundation does exactly that. They tackle those disadvantaged areas, the young people that struggle in life to find a purpose, to find a meaning, and they give them that purpose and meaning through sports. And that's why I think so many people around the world, especially young people, relate to sport and relate to sport heroes, because they can identify themselves with them and all the struggles that they go through.
You're nominated tonight. How did you feel when you received the nomination? Because you had an incredible 2018, but you've started 2019. I guess how you mean to go on.
Well, it was a very, very special journey, very transformative journey for me. I struggled with a major injury for a couple of years, and I got to a point where I just had to undergo a surgical intervention 12 months ago, and I kind of always believe in myself. Is part of me that always believes in my own qualities and abilities to really rise, but at the same time it was highly unlikely that I'll be standing here as a nominee 12 months later. But it made my journey even more special, and it taught me great lessons and great deal about myself. I had to dig really deep and just understand, as Nico said, and use that as an opportunity to grow and to really change into a better version of myself.
Well, Nico and Novak, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you both. I'm not sure if you've ever met each other before. In fact, you mentioned that you had, but of course, coach and protege.
Yes, and friends and parenthood and the rest.
What makes Laureus so special that you bump into people from across so many different sports and athletes that maybe you wouldn't in other award ceremonies?
Yeah, totally. And I mean, there's so many inspirational people. Before, I can't remember the name. She won last year, but it's really incredible. Yeah, it's really nice.
Well, I think some people are looking at us to wrap because you might be needed. You're only a little bit important, so thank you so much. It's been an absolute
Have a lovely night. Oh, do you hear that, Carolyn? Best chat so far.
Oh,
the check's in the post.
Guys.
It'll be a very small check, I'm not going to lie to you, but it is in the post nonetheless. What a pleasure this has been. You can see the red carpet behind us is pretty much empty now, so we've ended on the highest of highs.
Well, I'm ending on a high of a high because I'm now speaking to you, Radzi.
You. Lots of checks are in lots of posts at the moment, it's safe to say. So I think I'm not even going to say what the highlight has been. Yeah. It has been that.
Yeah, it was that chat. And I think...
Actually, Beatrice.
Yes, Beatrice is... Well, God, we did end on a high, didn't we? Because we had Beatrice and then we had those two. I mean, it's been... Beatrice just got my emotions going. High, low, roller coaster. She is a phenomenal human being.
So many categories, so many different award categories. Remember, you can get in touch and have your say on all of our social media outlets, which is at Laureus Sport, both on Instagram and on Twitter. I'll certainly be hashtagging myself because I've got my own thoughts as who's going to win.
Yes.
I'm going to go... In fact, shall I say it now?
Yeah, go on.
I'm going to go Eliud Kipchoge, Sports Man of the Year. Just going to put it out there.
I knew you were going to say that.
Who are you going to go for?
I'm going to say Sportsman of the Year. I think I'm going to say Novak Djokovic. I said it before, though, didn't I? It wasn't just Because I spoke to him then. If you have your say and use the hashtag Laureus19 because we want to hear from all of you at home. It's been a phenomenal night.
It genuinely has, and it's raced by. Now it's time for you to basically find out who indeed are the lucky winners. You will get updates again on social media. I'll actually be speaking to some of the winners straight after their announcement. We genuinely have no idea who it will be, so make sure you are checking out all platforms online so that you get the updates as they come in.
Well, from Radzi and myself, thank you so much and good night.